Yo, what's up, guys? In this video, we are going to react live on J. Krishnamurti's video on how to release on deep rooted emotions. So, how do you use your mind to jailbreak your mind? Fascinating. So, let's take a look and get right into it.
My behavior indicates that I'm afraid. Yet the actual perception of fear is elusive. How do I reach and deal with this deep-rooted but unconscious emotion? My behavior indicates that I'm afraid. Yet the actual perception of fear is elusive. How do I reach and deal with this deep-seated but unconscious emotion? Do you want to go into this now?
Well, yeah, that's why I'm watching this.
I was going to deal with it on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter, we'll deal both days. If one has observed this problem of fear has existed from time immemorial, right? It has existed with man. And man has lived with it, both consciously or hidden deep down, its roots very, very deep. And either we have escaped from it through logic, through analysis, through any form of entertainment that helps us to avoid coming directly into contact with it and holding it, or we have suppressed it. Right? We have to do this. Or we neglect it. Say what? We have lived with fear for a million years, so what does it matter now? And one knows the consequences of fear. Physical shrinkage, a tendency to be a hypocritical.
So if you notice what he's doing, if one has to explain fear, the way one does is they explain like the stories, like what they feel. Oh my god, I feel afraid, I feel uncertain, I feel I feel kind of uneasy, stuff like this. But notice how he's describing fear. What he's describing is an experiential experience. He's talking about an experiential description. He's giving an experiential description. If I asked you to say what is the quality of this ring, you might say, oh, this is yellow, it's circular in nature, it's kind of squishy, stuff like this. But the way he's using the word, Jiddu Krishnamurti, the way he's using the word quality is gathering experiential information. So if I have to see what is the quality of this ring, so I can touch it, feel it, and I get some data that you would never get, because all I can give you is words. But this experiential data, you gather some information, right? Now he's describing this information, like notice physical shrinkage. So if you literally observe fear in a very mindful way And if you remove some of the stories of what you think is happening, then you will notice these qualities about the sensation. It is the physical shrinkage.
Physical shrinkage.
Shrinkage.
A tendency to be a hypocritical resistance, an avoidance of the fact that one is really afraid. So if one really profoundly wants to be free from that reaction called fear, one has to go to the very root of it. There is biological fears. Body, the organism, which must protect itself, and the fear of disease, old age, death, and the fears of past memories. So fear is again a common ground upon which all human beings stand. So, either we deal with it superficially or inquire into it very, very deeply. What is the root of fear? One knows various forms of fear. Death, old age, fear of tomorrow, fear of uncertainty, fear of insecurity, fear of not being loved, or loved and not receiving that love, fear of loneliness, fear of loss, fear of not having anybody to depend on, and so on. There are various forms of fear. The fear of the dark, the fear of light. Do we deal with the outward forms of fear?
So, what he's saying, there are two kinds of fear. One fear, how do I describe this? There are two kinds of information in the first place. If you're taking fear, there are two kinds of information that exists. One is experiential information, like what he was describing, the physical sensation and stuff like that. And two is conceptual. So if you notice the list of what he gave, all of the fear of death, old age, tomorrow, uncertainty, all of them exist in the realm of concepts. None of them are experientially true. It's all meaning that we give to this aspect of reality that we call fear. You see? Now, he's distinguishing that aspect of the conceptual information with a more experiential information. And that's what inquiry means. Inquiry means to getting at the root of the experience by removing all the conceptual overlays that you have put on top of reality. Conceptual overlays analogies be like more like you're looking at the world through a rose-colored glasses. So no matter where you look, it looks pink. You look here, it's look pink. This won't look yellow. This will look kind of pinkish. And to Inquire requires you to recognize that you're wearing a sunglass and then removing it. And the only way you can do that is by experientially knowing, literally in your direct experience, not conceptually, and not get lost in this finger pointing game, not get lost in this concepts of death, old age, fear of tomorrow, uncertainty. All of them exist in the realm of concepts, and it is something you can directly become conscious of in your direct experience. Right now, you can be conscious of that. So he's taking it one step further.
Fear of uncertainty, fear of insecurity, fear of not being loved, or loved and not being receiving that love, fear of loneliness, fear of loss, fear of not having anybody to depend on, and so on. There are various forms of...
That's why he calls it a forms of fear, never like fear. Like fear, you look at fear through different interpretations, like forms. Like water has various forms, yeah. Ice, water, you have the steam. So water has various forms, but the core truth of water is H2O, right? And to inquire is looking beyond the forms of water and looking at its molecular structure, which in this case is H2O. So for water, we know it's H2O, and we know it's the same H2O in like different forms. So in fear, all of these are different forms. So what is like the root of fear? So in water, if it's H2O, what is the H2O equivalent of fear? What is it exactly? In the experience, the answer is an experiential knowingness. It's not a conceptual wordplay. So that you have to like be sure. So all the questions that he's asking is meant to redirect your awareness to this experiential information, which is what even I'm trying to understand. So let's find it out together.
Fear. The fear of the dark, the fear of light. Do we deal with the outward forms of fear? That is, I'm afraid of my wife.
Now look, he's stretching it here. That's why I feel people get lost. Like even wife is a conceptual information on top of an experience, right? That's why he's even like saying this out here. Even the wife is more like a meaning that you're giving to like an aspect of reality. Like there's nothing about someone's wife which inherently says that they're a wife. It's a meaning and it's an interpretation that we put on this reality. So our goal is to like remove all these meanings in the context, in the realm of fear, and see what remains. What is the molecular structure of fear?
Or I'm afraid of a bully.
Afraid of a bully.
A bully. Bullying all the time, you lie, you do all kinds of things. And there is the fear of that constant pressure of an aggressive, slightly demented person. So, do we want to deal with fear superficially, which is intellectually?
You see, now he's saying intellectually, verbally, they're all language of symbols. They're all language of concepts. They never by in itself are an experience. The language is not inherently an experience. The language is always a set of symbols trying to point to an experience that's not it. So if I say apple, so the goal of the word apple is not to like point to an experience of the word apple, but rather point at some aspect of reality that we call apple.
verbally, or do you want to go into it very, very, very deeply?
So by very, very, very deeply, he means experientially. So you can like talk about it, intellectually think about it, verbally talk about this ring. But if you want to know it very, very, very deeply, if you know what I mean, then you have to like touch it, feel it. You have to be here, touch it, feel it, maybe smell it, play around with it, experience it, and remove all the meanings.
Please, this is a serious question which you must answer for yourself. If you want to deal with it superficially, that is endless. It's like a tree. The moment you cut down one branch or one twig of it, there is another one rising. It's perpetual flowering of fear.
So he's saying if you want to deal with this in the realm of concepts, it is never ending. So in the realm of concepts, it is like a perpetual blossoming. Like you could forever and ever keep talking about this ring. Forever and ever. Oh, it has these many atoms. Each atom is like this. It is this color. The light is coming about, bouncing this, and only yellow is getting reflected back. That's why it's called. Forever and ever, you can talk about this ring. It's infinite. But if you really want to know it, there is very little you can do conceptually. So it's all about recognizing and making the distinction between conceptual aspect of reality and experiential aspect of reality. Knowing, am I thinking this in the realm of concepts or am I thinking this in the realm of experience? And that's what he's pointing to, without using those words, of course.
Or you go into it observing its very nature, structure, how it comes into being.
See, experientially, observe, he's saying, observe. Not talk about it, not think about it, observe.
When we want to deal with it deeply, go to the very root of it. What is the root of fear? Please, I'm not telling you, the speaker is not pointing out, we are together investigating into a tremendous, complicated problem which has crippled humanity. And out of fear we've done all kinds of things, invented all the gods on earth. If there is absolutely no psychological fear, then you are beyond all gods. So what is basically the root of fear? Is it time and thought? Please, we are investigating. I'm not telling you. I'm questioning. Is it time, the future, or the past?
If you notice, future and the past, both of them doesn't exist in this moment. Both of them exist in the conceptual realm. You feel me? Anytime you think about the future, it lies in the same realm where if you had to like imagine, let's say, birds flying in the Mars, it exists in the same realm as that, which you can call it, I call it conceptual, but there are so many other words in other religions they call it. You have conceptual, you have illusion. In my culture it's Maya, which also means illusion. There is a dream world, stuff like this.
And is it also thought, thinking about the future? Thinking.
So here he's making one realize that the only reason you can even think about the future is because there's a thought that you're experiencing. But the thought itself is a concept. I'm super tired, guys. The thought itself is a concept.
About the past, thinking what might happen or what has happened. The future is time. The past is time.
The future is time, past is time. So if you really have to think about it, it's very easy to like visualize this if you think about it in terms of overlays. So you have a moment, like you have this, and you have like overlays on top of this. You have like, oh, this is a ring. For me, you use it for like fitness. You actually use it for forearms. I use it like a stress ball, but you use it as that overlay. And then you have an overlay of time. It exists in some. Then you have an overlay of like space. This exists where I am living. All this stories on top of it. So the investigation process is just trying to discover the overlays, discover their thoughts, and then letting go of them.
The past,
for something more true,
modifying itself in the present, moves towards tomorrow, the future. The remembrance of an incident which has caused fear.
The remembrance of an incident.
You're
remembering it.
The future of that incident, awakening the new fear. You following all this? Am I talking to myself or we are meeting each other?
Welcome to 21st century. He's talking to me. He doesn't even know.
So there is horizontal fear and vertical fear. Right?
What right? Wait, where did that come from? What is horizontal and vertical? I think there's horizontal in terms of there is like time axis, and vertical I think is like thought. I don't know where this horizontal vertical came from, but let's see whether he explains or not.
So we're asking, is it time? The past, the present, and the future. One is afraid of the present, the instability, the threat of war, the bomb that some country, another great tribal country might put it on this, so on. So one is afraid of the past, the present, and the future. This is a movement, right? It's not something that is static, it's a movement.
See,
and so
he's talking experientially here. Like if I touch it and if I say, it has a rubbery feeling. This has a rubbery feeling, So he's looking at the thoughts or the fear, and it's kind of like articulate the experiential information. There is a movement. Like, of course, if you never observed it mindfully, you'll not understand what the symbol movement is pointing to. So
a movement means time. From here to the village, it requires time. You travel, you go to the village. From one point to another point, it means time. So, we are asking if time is one of the factors of fear.
Sure, I can say that, yeah.
Logically, it seems so. Rationally, sanely. And is thought also the root of fear? I think tomorrow might bring me unemployment. I'll be unemployed tomorrow. They're thinking about it. While I am employed, thinking about it tomorrow is also the beginning of fear. Right, you're following?
Yeah.
Thinking about the past, the incidents, the psychological accidents which has brought about certain forms of fear. Thinking about the past, thinking about the future, thinking about the actual moment of life in which there is such tremendous uncertainty. Thought
Uncertainty. Yeah.
breeds fear, right?
Thought breeds fear.
Following
Okay.
on?
Yeah.
So time and thought are the major factors of fear.
Sure.
And if they are, and as in reality they are, what is one to do?
A good
You
question.
understand my problem?
Yeah.
Were we meeting each other?
Yeah, we're meeting, definitely. Definitely meeting.
You have explained this to me, that time and thought is the root of fear. You have gone into it.
So, right now, I would like to make a small nuanced thing. Time and thought, meaning like the experience of time and the experience of the thought, rather than the thought and time itself. Of course, conceptually, they would also would contribute to fear, but also experientially, there's something about the nature and the quality. If I say quality, this has rubbery quality. So there's something about the quality of the thought that's also kind of crazy, and that's what even I'm struggling to understand. So I'm watching this video, so I thought might as well watch it live.
Explained it, not in great detail, but I've captured the meaning of what you have said. Now, then you ask me, is it an idea that you have accepted? The words that you have accepted, or listening what you have said to me. From that listening, I have made an abstraction of it into an idea,
He's talking about the
and I'm
conceptual.
struggling with the idea. Then I ask, how am I to put that idea into action? You see the difference? Vous avez compris?
Okay, I say this. I don't know what language is like. Say it in different languages. So what he's just saying right now is what I've been trying to like point at again and again. So he's saying, let's go slowly. Well, it's a logical sequence. It's very hard to accept. There we go.
And thought is the root of fear. You have gone into it, you have explained it.
So right now he's talking from like an audience perspective. So he's talking as if I'm saying this to him. So I'm telling him, you have gone into it, you have explained it.
Not.
And it's like I'm telling him, not in great detail, but I've captured the meaning of what he said. So he's talking on behalf of audience, right?
In great detail, but I've captured the meaning of what you have said.
Yeah.
Now,
Then you ask me,
is it an idea that you have accepted? The words that...
so it's right now, whatever is saying is in the realm of symbols. So no matter what I talk about this ring, yeah, you'll never, impossible to experientially know what this ring feels like, what this ring is like to touch, taste. I mean, if you want to look at or smell, I don't think it has any smell particularly, but sure, or feel it basically, right? But no matter how I talk about it, or it has like a rubbery consistency, it has like a grippy texture, you'll kind of like get an idea of it, but that idea will never ever point to an experience. So he's saying you have listened to what I am saying about this fear, and you have abstracted it, as in you know it conceptually about it, and then you are asking me how do I put this conceptual information into action, when the entire goal of self inquiry itself, the entire goal is to remove these abstractions to see what the true nature of fear is. You know? So
Accepted. Or listening what you have said to me, from that listening, I have made an abstraction of it into an idea. And I'm struggling with the idea. Then I ask, how am I to put that idea into action? You see the difference? So
I see, man.
You have understood?
I got you, man.
Is this clear? No.
Yep. It's like, no.
We have the habit of making abstractions of a fact.
Okay. So he's saying we have an habit of making an abstraction into fact. As in, we have an habit of misinterpreting, becoming deluded, of thinking the conceptual experience, the conceptual knowledge is actually real. For example, let's talk about Antarctica. I'm sure none of you have ever visited Antarctica. All you have ever seen are symbols, pictures, words, sentences, stories. You have heard about this place called Antarctica. Even though a person has never been to Antarctica, they have literally zero, none, no experiential knowledge of literally what it is like to be in Antarctica. Alright? But you think Antarctica is real and you treat it like a fact. Even though Antarctica is an abstraction of the fact. You see the difference here. So he's saying we have a habit, and especially in spiritual inquiry, it's very important to make this distinction and be very clear. What is your direct experience, not someone else's, versus what is an abstraction that you're listening second hand. That's why Jiddu Krishnamurti is very against authority and stuff like that, because we have a habit of making something into an abstraction and deluding ourselves that the abstraction is a fact. So let's listen further.
Those abstractions become ideals, concepts, conclusions, all verbal.
All symbols pointing to an aspect of reality.
And then
all like it's like a finger pointing at the moon, right? They're all like fingers pointing at something. But our goal here is to like see the moon, not think about the moon, not understand the moon, not understand why the moon exists, but kind of experience the moon itself. So no matter, all this information are like fingers pointing at something. Most of these fingers usually point at other fingers, and this finger points at this finger. That's what he's saying here. They're all verbal, they're all pointers, they're all symbols pointing to an experience rather than the experience itself. They're all verbal. We are after the experience. Because we want to know the root of fear, not understand the fear, know the root of fear. It's like we want to see the moon, not understand the moon, or not like have a second-hand description of the moon. We want to see the moon for ourselves. I want to see the root of fear. That is the goal of this inquiry. Root of fear.
And then I ask myself, how am I to carry out these ideals, these ideas, these concepts, that time and thought are the root of fear. You understood?
Yeah, yeah.
I have made an abstraction of what you have told me. Time and thought are the root of fear.
So he's saying, I made an abstraction. Now he's talking from the perspective of the audience. It's like I'm telling him, okay. So he's like, now he is inquiring and he's putting himself in the seat of audience, and he's like kind of like talking to himself, but it's like the audience is also self-inquiring now. So it's like the audience is telling this. So it's like I'm telling him this. Oh, so okay, I made an I made an abstraction of what you have told me, and
Of what you have told me.
I'm telling him
Time and thought are
a root of fear.
the root of fear. And I'm pursuing the idea, how am I to carry out in life? The speaker says, please don't do that.
Yeah. So it's like, so if you understand, it's interesting that I'm able to keep up with this because he randomly just talks in the perspective of audience. Unless you like follow what he's saying, it's very hard to like keep up. So it's like audience perspective, and it's like I'm saying.
This
The speaker says, now it's like I'm telling him, now he's responding back to me, please don't do that. Okay. Cool.
speaker says, please don't do that. Don't make an abstraction of what you have heard. That time and thought are the root of fear.
So he's saying, guys, so please don't believe that time and thought are root of fear. Now probably he'll say, you have to investigate. I don't know what he's going to say, but something like that.
Don't translate it to an idea, but find out the truth of it.
So here the truth is an experience, is never a concept. The truth of seeing the moon is actually seeing the moon. The truth of this ring is you coming here and touching this and feeling this ring and experiencing this ring. That is the truth of it. Everything else is concepts, everything else is falsehood, everything else is maya, illusion, dream, everything else is dream. This direct experience is real. So the truth is synonymous to direct experience.
The actuality of it.
The actuality.
That is, I see that I really am afraid of the past. It is so. Also, I'm afraid the present, because the things are so incredibly destructive around me. And also, I'm afraid of tomorrow, the future. The atom bomb, the nuclear bomb,
Mugging, bruh.
the mugging, the man terrorists and the politicians with their game. That's the present, so also the future. So, I realize, I see the fact, not the idea, that time and thought are the root of fear.
So he's saying, I see in my direct experience, when I look at the root of fear, I recognize and I can see in my experience that time and thought are root of fear. And the idea of self-inquiry is always to like inquire within and see that for yourself. Is it true or not? You don't know unless and until you have a fear and you think, am I afraid of this because there's a thought? Am I afraid of this because there's a time axis, Am I afraid of the future? And stuff like this. Then you'll be like, oh yeah, you know what? I am also afraid of time. I am also afraid of this fear. And it turns out that time and thought are like a major contributors to this experience of fear.
Next Saturday, I'll go into much more in a different way. But this is the root of fear. Now, what shall I do?
Good question. What shall I do?
Realize I see the fact. I see the truth of what you have told me.
Damn, I'm getting a call, guys. Just give me one moment. Man, some random number just called me. Yeah, let's go. Damn. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, clear, clear. I'm following. Yeah, 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 I'm following. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, don't worry, man. We're meeting definitely. Nah, man, I didn't get this, but it's fine. It's something I have to inquire more. I never. Next time fear comes up, I'll do it. Try and really look. Is there an observer? Is the observer different from fear? I don't know. I have to investigate. Let's see. Bruh. He's going to do the same logic again. But the last one I don't really get. I mean, I haven't experienced in my direct experience personally. Maybe you should. I'll let you guys know. But that's it for this video.